My name is Kavitha Melwani, and I am a multi-certified intuitive success coach. I want to personally welcome you to Aligned and Soulful Success, where we empower soulful empaths, sensitives, and conscious leaders to confidently align with their purpose and opulently shine their light without the hustle. Together, we will explore challenges and real implementable solutions so you can step into your unique purpose and shine. It is possible to bridge the success that you already have with the truest, soulful, mystical parts of yourself. Are you ready to rise up? Then listen in. Hello, everyone. This is Kavitha Melwani with Aligned and Soulful Success. And today I want to talk about something that you may have heard of, or maybe you've heard maybe too much of, and that is the phenomenon of quiet quitting. And I'm going to talk about this a little differently because I'm going to discuss it in a way that has to do with being empathic and in a way that has to do with being maybe an entrepreneur and how that could show up differently, right? So quiet quitting is generally spoken about in a way that has to do with work and with careers. And so first, there has been a kind of different definitions of quiet quitting. I've kind of looked it up to see what exactly is this and what do people define as quiet quitting. So quiet quitting can be seen as defined as basically on one end, it's that you are just putting in the required amount of work. So you're just doing what's necessary, what needs to be completed. Okay. And so that's one version of quiet quitting. You're not putting in the extra hours. You're not working on it during off hours, off business would be considered normal hours. You're not putting in the extra effort, and you are getting your work done though. Okay. So that it's not like you're going extra. And so this actually in some ways is very healthy because you're not in that kind of hustle mentality, overworking. And in fact, you're doing your job. Okay. So culturally though, meaning in the Western culture, at least in the US, it is not the normal way or the way that people would like to see, right? They want you to go above and beyond. Even if you look at job postings, right? It's like they describe people that are going in above and beyond. You probably find that in some of the listings. So this phenomenon is something that people are noticing because people are burning out and they're not wanting to work at that same pace and they do want to have a life, right? So I don't see that there's something necessarily wrong with it. Okay. On the other hand, I've seen quiet quitting also being described as barely doing what you're meant to do in your job, right? So just kind of showing up, but maybe you're doing some other things versus your job. You're barely getting it done. And so that's where there's a sense of, okay, so what is going on here? And if you are in that, like if I said that and you feel, yeah, that sounds kind of like me, then you would be considered what in my accepted definition of quiet quitting and what I'm going to be addressing today, right? And even if you're in the first definition that I gave, which is more of, barely just doing what I'm meant to do, when it's your business, that may be a little bit of a challenge. So still keep listening if you are not necessarily in the camp of like just barely doing it, right? Barely getting things done. So what can happen is, there can be a sense for some people that time is flying by and I spend so much time doing my job, doing my work, running my business. And at the end of the day, what do I really have to show for it? And maybe there's the phenomenon of just putting things to do and just moving it to the next day, and not really feeling like you're getting much accomplished. Okay. And this can be worse when you have your own business, because it can feel like you're wearing so many different hats, right? Especially if you're like kind of a solopreneur, you might have, a little bit of support, but you're wearing the hat of the marketer, the CEO, the CFO. You're wearing the hat of the actual, practitioner in your business, if that's what you do. So there are lots of things to juggle and lots of roles that you must play. And some of those are most likely your strengths, and some of those are not necessarily something you enjoy doing, right? And so when you have so many different categories of tasks and so many things that you have to do, and then you're not sure how to do some of them, that can be, especially the ones that you don't enjoy doing, those are the ones that you may feel a little bit of this sense of quiet quitting, right, in those areas. So if that's the case, then it's time to look at that. Okay. Now, another reason, besides feeling overwhelmed with all the things you have to do and not feeling really productive and not feeling that motivation, another reason that you may experience, this quiet quitting, is that you're feeling a desire to change. Like maybe you want to change what you're doing. Maybe you are getting a little tired of it. It's feeling repetitive, or it's not fulfilling anymore, and you just don't know what to do next. And so you just continue here because it seems too difficult to make a change. And that in itself feels overwhelming, and maybe you don't even have the energy for that. So that could be another reason that you find yourself fitting into some of the categories I'm describing of quiet quitting. And so what about when you are in a business and you are an entrepreneur, and you actually are in a business that you are passionate about, that you feel is purposeful, and that in a way feels like it really aligned with who you are, and you still feel a little bit of this. You feel you're doing some of this, and maybe it has to do with those tasks that you don't enjoy. Okay. And so if you're finding that, most likely you're not getting the results that you desire from those parts of your business. Okay. So sometimes there's a sense of pushing and urgency, and there's that internal feeling of like, I'm never going to get there. Right. So sometimes we feel like that quitting in a way, but not really quitting, like telling ourselves we're not quitting, but we kind of are giving up, but we're still just kind of doing things and kind of going through the motions, because we don't know what else to do. Right. And we are maybe not even aware of it. And maybe as I'm describing this to you, you're starting to be aware that this is happening. And maybe you just feel like there's just not enough time to get it done. So I'm never going to get it done. So that can be kind of disheartening and demotivating. And so if you're feeling this, my recommendation is first to recognize what is happening and what areas it may be happening. And as you're looking at this and asking yourself what you might need. So maybe you need a break. Maybe you need a vacation, but a real vacation where you're not going to do any work. Maybe you need a mental break. So if you're an entrepreneur, and especially if you're passionate about what you do, you'll probably spend a lot of time thinking about your entrepreneurial journey, about your business, and you're thinking about ideas, and you're concerned about something that's not working, and thinking of ways to change and all of that. And sometimes we need a break from that. So what is something that you can focus your mind on, focus your energy on, that doesn't have to do with your business, right? And so whenever we step out of our regular role, step out of what we do regularly on like the routine kind of, that's when we can have a fresh perspective and maybe make some shifts and changes if we see that as necessary. And and most likely the shifts and changes have to be internal. So you make some internal shifts and changes, and then how you actually complete those tasks that you're doing get done in a different way. And then you can see possibilities, and you may see alternatives that you didn't see before. Because when you're in this kind of sense of, oh, I just got to get this done, right? It's harder to see possibilities. Your brain may not even recognize it. It's just looking forward to the next thing. You're just looking forward to completing it, right? And so what I would love for you is to make sure that you're taking care of yourself here. And when you're telling yourself, I'm doing everything I can, I'm getting all the things done, ask yourself, am I really doing this mindfully? Am I really giving it the energetic attention that it needs, or am I just checking things off, right? And if you find yourself just checking things off, sometimes that's okay, right? And sometimes that's what we need to do. When it becomes a regular thing, almost like a pattern, then really checking in with yourself, right? Do I need a break? Do I need to step away from this? How can I give myself an emotional, mental break? Because sometimes it's not a mental, it's not a physical break, because maybe you are stepping away from your business. Maybe you are giving yourself what is listed on your calendar as time off, but you're constantly thinking about it, right? And if you're in a career that is not an entrepreneurial journey, right, and you're empathic, there can be the sense of overwhelm and burnout that is happening because of everything that's happening around us. And the quiet quitting, when it comes to being an empath, in addition to what I've already shared, can also come from maybe not feeling recognized and validated for your work. So if you are working, and this can apply to being an entrepreneur or in a career, and you're not feeling like the work that you put in is being recognized and validated, either through recognition, through financial remuneration, through other aspects of recognition, then this quiet quitting thing can start, right? And so it can be like, well, I kind of don't want to give it all. I don't want to give it my all, because what's the point, right? What's the benefit of that? And so recognizing that and seeing that, why did I do this in the first place? Why am I in this? What are the gifts of this that don't end in like a kind of a reward or a validation piece, right? Almost like that intrinsic motivation, as they call it. Like, why are you doing this? And why did you start doing this? And sometimes we have to reconnect with that, or we have evolved and we have to check in to see what the next thing is. And so it's not always clear immediately, right? So when you're talking about quiet quitting, right? So in the beginning, I shared about, what could be defined as quiet quitting. There's more than one definition that I found. And then why quiet quitting might be showing up for you, why you might be engaging in what would be defined as this behavior. And some of the things is that you're feeling this time urgency and you're just not feeling productive. You're not feeling validated. You're wanting to actually make a change, but you don't know how. If you have your own business, then the task that you're doing is not something you're really motivated and enjoy doing. And if you have an aligned business and you're in your passionate business, maybe you're burnt out a little bit and you need a break and you need a change, right? A change of scenery, a change of perspective. And so you need to step away for a little bit. And if you're empathic and you're feeling these things, in some cases, it's because you're not feeling the validation and you're working hard, but you're not seen and heard. I've heard that from so many of my clients, and I felt that myself. So if that's something that you're experiencing, it's important to check inward and really be in connection with your intrinsic motivation, which can also be your purpose. So if you are feeling kind of this burnout and you are wanting to move beyond this and you want to work with this, these are just some starting steps that I recommend. And if you want to learn some more strategies, I have a free gift, overcoming overwhelm, that might be helpful. So I'll have the link available for you. And in the meantime, until next week, take good care.
Thank you
Bye.
for joining us for Aligned and Soulful Podcast. To view the show notes and all the links that I mentioned in today's episode, please visit alignedandsoulfulpodcast.com. That's also where you can download my free gift, which is an abundance visualization and exercise to help you unlock your abundance. And so also before you go, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so that you can receive new episodes right when they're released. You can subscribe right now in the app that you're listening to this podcast on. And thank you again for joining me for Aligned and Soulful. This is Kavita Milwani. I will see you next time. Until then, take good care. Bye.